Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are starting off my summary posts, like of the year post. I like to do a bunch of these on my blog, and obviously this year I'm going to do some on my YouTube channel. So we are going to start off with my top 5 books of the year. Well, some of them are series. But yes, if you want more book content as well, I will be posting a list ranking all of the books that I've read this year, as well as like links to those reviews, because while I have 5 books / series here, there's tons of other good books that I read this year that just didn't make the top 5. And please let me guys know in the comments if you want to see more book content from me on my YouTube channel. As some of you might know, my TikTok is basically a book account now, but if you want to see more on my other channels, please let me know. So let's get into this. First of all, I don't think this will be any surprise, but my number 1 book this year is the Throne of Glass series. This is the last book, Kingdom of Ash. Currently don't have the Throne of Glass book because my brother's reading it and I'm too lazy to go get it from his room. So here you go, Kingdom of Ash. Follow my YouTube or my blog or my Instagram or anywhere, you will know that I absolutely fell in love with this series. This is my only 5-star book this year. I would say that TV shows, it's pretty easy for me to give a 5-star. If I loved it, I loved it. But books, I'm a lot more pickier. I find that I have a pretty good like average threshold, but for a book to like really stand out for me, I have pretty high expectations. That's why most of my books this year fell into the 3-4-star category, and that's why there's only 1 5-star. Reasons why I love this series. Game of Thrones is one of my like favorite TV shows, and I gotta say that in a lot of ways this is kind of like the YA version of Game of Thrones. Listen, that there's a lot of magic going on. There's like witches, there's dragons, there's fae. There's a lot of really amazing badass characters. There's also a lot of amazing badass female characters, which I love. And I like how the women are very balanced. You know, sometimes when you get like badass like fighter, they're like tomboys. The main character, like Selena, she is very in touch with her feminine side as well, which I like. Oops. I like that balance in a character. I just woke up my cat, sorry. I like that balance in between like feminine and more masculine traits, having a well-rounded character. I found that the characters were very well developed. Because this is an 8-book series, there's a lot of character development, which I really enjoyed. I felt that the world was amazing. I loved how it was built. I had issues with the magic system, but anyways, and I cried so much while reading this book. Actually, my TikTok video of me crying while reading Kingdom of Ash is one of my most liked videos. Kind of sad. Video of me crying is my most liked, but anyways, I just got so emotionally attached to a lot of these characters. And yeah, there definitely are some flaws to this series, but those flaws, they didn't necessarily take away from my love of the series. That like, despite the flaws, I still loved it. So that's why I gave it 5 stars. I recommend everyone read the series. If you're not into high fantasy, this might be a little much, but if you like are even remotely interested in fantasy, then you have to read the series. It's amazing. I know it's a lot of books, but it's definitely worth it. Okay, up next, one that I read near the beginning of the year. Yeah, in May. I read this back in May. So near the beginning half of the year is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. If you guys don't know, I absolutely love The Handmaid's Tale. And I know that's like a weird book to love because it's like pretty fucked up, man. I do absolutely love it. So this is the sequel. This is written 15 years after the original came out, so a lot has happened, especially a TV show, which I also love. There's 3 seasons of the TV show. So if you don't know the plot of The Handmaid's Tale, basically it's in a dystopian world, in a dystopian future where basically the US government has been toppled and now the country of Gilead has gone up in its place, and it's basically extremely repressive to women, that there is different positions in the society, and one of them is handmaid, and the handmaid is assigned to a politically high-ranking couple, and it's basically there to be a surrogate or handmaid. Basically they are forced to have sex with the husband because the wives are infertile to be able to produce children, because in the society fertility has gone down. This book was published, sorry, the first book was published more than 15 years ago. This book was set 15 years into the future, and it continues the storyline of a bunch of the characters, but 3 main characters are not the main characters from the first one. So anyways, I really liked how this book connected to the TV show, but it also differed from the TV show, because in the TV show the first season is the first book, and then from there they kind of just go on their own. So this one kind of picked and chose a couple of things but then changed a couple of other things. So I will say it's helpful if you had watched the TV show when reading this book. So like as a fan of the TV show, it was really fun to read, and I know it's kind of messed up saying, but it was kind of nice to return back to Gilead just because I was so connected to the TV show. Really liked the 3 main characters, and I liked how, because it changed point of view throughout the novel, and I liked how my feelings on the characters changed depending on the POVs. So for an example, from Daisy's point of view, I found Agnes to be really annoying, but then when I'm reading from Agnes's point of view, I really get and sympathize with her. So it's interesting how it really shows you that perspective really changes things. I found the ease of this novel to be a lot better compared to the first novel. That's kind of one of my only critiques of the first novel, is I find it much more of a literary fiction. So there's lots of metaphors and all that stuff. It's a perfect English class novel, the first one, versus this one I found it cut down on all of that and became a lot more readable. So for anyone who is interested in reading The Handmaid's Tale and The Testament and the TV show, what I recommend is read Handmaid's Tale first, because it does a really good job of helping set up the world and understand everything, so when you watch the TV show it makes a lot of sense. My mom and I watched a TV show together. I had read the books, my mom had it, and I found it a lot easier to understand the TV show. Then I would watch the TV show and then I would read this book, because I think if you haven't read the TV show, then I think you probably could still read this book without seeing the TV show, but for me I just got it a lot more, and I knew some of the connections a lot faster than if you would have if you had not watched the TV show. Anyways, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It lost a star just because there is some confusion. For me, having read the TV show, it was easier, but I think, if people haven't read the TV show, they might be confused. And also there is just some pretty heavy themes in this novel, and that's not exactly for everyone, but they are important themes. Up next, we have the Blood and Ash series. I won't talk too much about it just because I have a blog post that went up on Friday about this, and I've also talked about this in my vlogs. But yes, I've decided to give this series a 4.25. I know this is 4 and this is 5, so it's 4.25 so far. There is more books coming out in the series, so we'll see how I feel, but so far I'm loving it. This is a high fantasy book, by the way. So this follows Poppy, who is chosen to be the maiden at a young age, and she has all of these duties, and she's supposed to usher in this new era for her kingdom, but she also must hide away, wear a veil, and not talk to a lot of people. Everything changes when she gets a new guard, Hawk, and he kind of is just an outsider, someone that she's never met, and he really is a catalyst for change for Poppy, as well as there's a lot of unrest going on in her kingdom at the same time. So this book is really good. It is unlike any vampire book I've ever read, because yes, there are vampires in this book and werewolves. Not your average vampire book. So I will say that this book series was really hyped up on Book Talk. I was kind of worried halfway through this book because I was having a lot of issues with the writing, and I was just not into it. And then the second half of the book just kind of sucked me back in, and then I got so excited for this book, and then this book, and a couple of issues with the characters in the first half, and then once again by the second half of the book it kind of got resolved and I was into it again. So basically with both of them, the first half is a little difficult, but the second half is totally rewarding and totally worth it. Overall, I love the world that has been built so far. I do find it unique and I find it really interesting. I love the plot and where the story is going. I just want to read more. And one of the things that I have been enjoying is that I do find that there is, especially in this book, there's a discussion about like ignorance and like Poppy being like ignorant and also like willfully ignorant in some ways, and how that is being a part of the problem. And I think that's something that could be really related to nowadays with a lot of what's going on in our world. You know, for example, like racism. You know, people can be ignorant of racism, but then if you're willfully ignorant and not taking the time to like educate and learn and improve yourself, you are therefore a part of the problem. So I think I really like how this book there's topics and themes and subjects in this book, in a fantasy book, that you could apply to like modern life, and that's something that I really do enjoy in a novel. And also these books are really spicy. You know, there's some pretty great sex scenes in it. If you like erotic fiction, you know, this is pretty great. Obviously it's not going to be on the same level as some like raunchy romances, but if you're someone who likes a fantasy novel with a little bit of that, you know, for all of my adult readers, you'll like this series. Okay, switching gears. I am really not much of a nonfiction reader. I read a little bit of nonfiction here and there, so I was very surprised that I loved this book so much. So my next book is Educated. Now, I'd heard really good things about this book. Like, it was built on the bestseller list for a while, but I was still wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. I will say that the first 150 pages are quite slow, and I was like, okay, look, we're just gonna keep on pushing through, because that's what I heard from a lot of other people. It's kind of where it's lost some of its rating, just because the first half of the novel is so slow. The latter half of the book is so good. I ended up reading the last 100 pages in one sitting because I was just so captivated. So for those of you who don't know what this book is about, it is a memoir of Tara Westover, and she is born into a survivalist Mormon family, which basically means that the dad doesn't believe in a lot of things. Like, he doesn't believe in the government, so they didn't get a formal education. They don't believe in healthcare, and they're kind of preparing for the end of the world. She grows up in that setting, and eventually she does get a formal education, and actually she ends up she goes to Harvard and Cambridge University and gets like a really high education despite having that lack of formal education in her youth. So it's really interesting. It talks a lot about really serious subjects like religion, violence, family. There's a lot of violence in this book, both intentional and unintentional as well, like neglect leading to violence. And yeah, so that's definitely another reason why I took away a star, just because I don't think this book is necessarily for everyone. A lot of people won't like it. A lot of people might find this book triggering. It's incredibly shocking, but also thought-provoking. I definitely, while reading this book, a lot of times I would finish and like close my book for the night, and I would just like sit there for a couple of minutes and think about it. And actually, like, still to this day, I read this book back in May, I believe, and sometimes I still find myself thinking about this book. I think that's definitely a sign of a good book, that you find yourself thinking about it later again and again. It's definitely something that made an impact on me. I also do like the writing style that Westover had. It was very easy to read, so I will give her that as well. So yeah, overall I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I don't think the subject matter is for everyone, and the beginning of the book was quite slow, but it definitely has some really important themes and subjects in here, and I would recommend it. And the last series we have is an underrated run. This is the Lace Chronicles. The first one is The Other Countess. The second one is A Queen's Lady. And the third one is The Rogue's Princess. Pretty sure I got this first book at a garage sale, and then it's so unknown that, or so not very popular, that the second and third book I actually got used off of Amazon. They were once library books, as you can see. They're from 2 different libraries. This was from Rockaway Park New York, and this one is from Norwich, New York. So yeah, they were old library books. So definitely not necessarily the most popular series out there, but sometimes the unpopular series are the really good ones. I kind of felt like I found a hidden gem with this series. So this series is a historical fiction romance, one of my favorite genres, one that I don't think enough people read and talk about. I love historical romance. Okay, so this series follows, each book is a different brother of the Lacy family. So in this book we have Eleanor and William Lacy. Then in this book we have Lady Jane and James Lacy. And then in this book, the last one, we have Mercy Hart and Kit Turner, who is the bastard brother of the other two Lacys. So in each book there's a different couple, but they're all interconnected because they're all brothers, and the characters in the past novels kind of come back up again. This is all set in Elizabethan England, so in her court and in and around it. I like this series because I find it didn't shy away from the darker side of history. So it talked a lot about death, you know, there's characters actually die in these novels, a lot about religion and religious intolerance and everything, and then also racism as well, which is something that you don't necessarily see in a lot of, especially because this is a YA series, so not a lot of YA novels necessarily go into those deeper, darker aspects. So I really did enjoy that they talked about that type of stuff. But then it's also a romance, you have both the romance and the love in between the characters, and while shit does go wrong, that there's bad things happen to the characters, at the end they all have their happy ending. Even though I liked this couple the most in this series, I like this book the least. I gave this series, it lost a star because while I thought it was good, I don't think it was anything revolutionary. If you don't like historical romance, you're not gonna like these books. So that's why I kind of lost a star. It was good, but it was nothing spectacular. And I know I said my top 5, but I do want to give an honorable mention because I'm currently reading The Hate You Give, almost 200 pages in, and so far so good. This might even become a 5-star book because honestly I have no complaints so far while reading it. Like, obviously things can change because I'm only halfway through, but yeah, so far I'm really liking this book. Obviously I'm not gonna finish it in time for this video, but stay tuned. I will have a review for this, and I have a feeling that the review is gonna be pretty high. So if you're looking for a contemporary YA novel, because I don't have any on this list, this would be my recommendation. So that is it, guys. Those are my top 5 books slash book series of 2020. Like I said, stay tuned for my blog post. I'll be ranking all of my books, and there were some duds this year too, and sometimes this can be fun to read the bad reviews and know what books to stay away from. So please let me know in the comments down below, what was your favorite book of 2020? I always love reading more books and adding books to my list, and also let me know down in the comments if you have any recommendations, any books that you would like to see me read and review. So guys, please like this video if you enjoyed this book content and you want to see more on my channel, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm currently doing Vlogmas, so you don't want to miss that out. And that is everything for today. I will see you guys in another Vlogmas video real soon, and yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, bye.